Hey guys, what's up? This is Elric. How do you do? Just wanted to get on here today to run a couple maps and talk and show you some differences in the build. I am slow, as previously stated, so it's taken me a while to get here versus everybody else. I'm running T12s pretty regularly. I die once or twice in them. Other than that, I'll show you. I might die in the video. That's fine. I'm just showcasing it. I still haven't gotten any 6 links. Pretty unlucky in terms of that. But I have changed a couple things. I dropped Explosive Grenade fully this time. I know I've said that in the past. I've dropped it. But this time I did drop it. And I looked at inspiration through Zizarin's video of his hardcore playthrough of the Smith of Katava artillery ballista that he's been playing. And honestly, I looked at him and I saw that he was running multiple artillery ballistas in his setup. I honestly didn't even think about that. I just didn't. It wasn't even a thing that came across in my head. I think he's even running like 4 different versions of artillery ballista in his setup, which is crazy. And on a side tangent, with the idea that you could switch things up like this, there may be a future where once they allow the ability to change your ascendancy in game in the coming week or so, I may switch my ascendancy to being a Gimling Legionnaire and see if it feels better or worse than this one does. I don't. Right now, I think that overall the Gimling Legionnaire would probably be the best ascendancy for this build, just because of the level scaling and the quality that it gives you. Just baseline, those are going to be way better than the pin is for this character. Now the pinning, I did get my 3rd ascendancy, I'll show you in a second, really helps defensively, because especially once you get your 3rd lab and you get that pinning a monster completely stops their actions, that's amazing, because you're essentially freezing everything around you at least once, and you do a lot of damage. So if they can fix the watch how I do it node and make it to where it affects your totems offensively, this class would be amazing. And I feel like that was the point of it, right? Was to allow like a more, because there's literally a ballista in the in the ascendancy picture, I think. So like it doesn't feel right that this isn't the best ascendancy for a ballista, at least in terms of like what you're thinking about. But regardless, I changed a few things. First of all, I changed one of my gem links from, I don't even remember what I replaced this with, but I put in inspiration other than just increasing my mana. I'll go through the gear in a second, but inspiration is just kind of a necessary thing. Once you start getting to the end game of this build, the costs just start astronomically shooting up. So you need inspiration. As much as it sucks that you can't have a damage support gem in this, you kind of just have to have it. It doesn't really feel like you're cutting your damage that much, but that is the case. So you got to have it. And the 5th and final one would be Immolate. The 2nd ballista setup, which I have less levels in, is what he had set up, which is using the Overabundance setup with Great Wood. So this is getting 4, because my baseline amount of ballistas is 3 on this one. This one's getting 4. Then I use Great Wood, which then brings it down to 1, but it gets buffs depending on how many you have for your limit. So it gets a whole bunch of buffs, as you can read here. So it goes from 3, then to 4, then to 1. This, like, you don't have to drop it during regular mapping, but for bossing, this is really helpful. Then you slap Immolate on this, which can't have both, so I don't know what I'll do for this. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is Fire Infusion, regardless. And then Elemental Focus here. That's the setup for the 2 main things. I haven't changed anything really about Siege Cascade. Its damage isn't really meant to be there as like actual damage, though it does do damage once you've pinned. It doesn't always do damage, but it can kill monsters once you've pinned them. And seeing as your first hit doesn't really do a shitload of damage with Siege Cascade, the second hit almost always kills them and kills everything around them. It does a lot of damage for your build. So this is a pretty major part of it, and you're constantly pinning with everything. So what I do is I typically slap down a couple totems. They'll fire once or probably once. Get either 90% of the way or fully pin most monsters on the in the crowd, and then Siege Cascade will take everything out. But I slapped Wildfire and Magnified Effect into this, giving it a bit more AoE. That way the explosions can hit more things, obviously, igniting them, which is the part, because that igniting is a large part of what gives us a bunch of damage on throughout our tree and throughout certain things here. Like I said, everything else should basically be the same. I haven't really done much else, honestly. Oh, I forgot. Okay, I need to probably grab Arcane Tempo real quick. Flammability. Where's Arcane Tempo? Arcane Tempo. There we go. That's good. Anyway, the gear here. This is my stats. I actually just recently found a pretty good ring, but it reduced my cold below the max here, so that's kind of crap, but that's okay. Regardless, gear here, I did switch to using Painter's Servant, though the Candle Maker's gloves are better just because they give an increase to fire damage. At least on the PoB they are. And I can even show it here. The Candle Maker or something like that. Candle Makers. Yeah, okay. That's literally what they're called. Candle Makers. It seems to me like these are just straight up better than the gloves I currently have on by quite a large margin, honestly. And they got better energy shield, though that's not really much of a thing. The only thing is they reduce your cold res, which honestly is not horrible. You can overcome that, even though I currently don't want to. But look how much it increases my DPS if I slap these gloves on. That's insane. Because it doubles my chance to ignite, which basically means that I'll always be igniting. Versus Painter's Servant, which gives a little bit of extra physical or elemental damage as fire damage. And other elements. Does it have the ring I have in here? Yeah, this one. This is the, like, quote-unquote GG ring. What you want on all of your gear is mana, which I don't have mana on this ring, which I need it. Mana is like your saving grace. The more mana you can get on every piece of gear, the better. Honestly. You're mana starved as fuck all the time, and there's not really a good way to solve it other than either going blood magic and completely fixing it, or going the other way and just slamming as much mana into your build as possible. It makes it to where a lot of your gear's very just suffix and prefix dependent, because you need a lot of res, you need a lot of mana. There's a lot of problems in that regard, but other than that, I enjoy the gameplay of it. I don't know if I've cleared this map. I'm going to check. If not, cool. I get to play the rest of the map through and on the video. I did clear this map. Okay, I'll go to a new map. Let's do this tower here. Let's do the T12 in the tower. There we go. Hopefully I don't die and embarrass myself. Oh no. If I die, how will I ever recover? It's okay. I die all the time. It's fine. There's nothing. This is not a gigantic deal. I did find another corrupted nexus, which is why I'm on only the second mission of this. But I died in it because I decided, like a dummy, to put in a really high level waystone instead of just putting the lower level one and clearing it. That way I could get the objective done and get my Atlas points. So I'm a dum-dum, and next time I find the nexus, that's what I'm going to do. So the PoE, which I'll put an updated one, which is actually my character as of right now, so the levels will be weird. I'll put the current PoE of my character on the description of this video. It'll have less damage than even the current PoE had, but as you can see, I'm in a T12, and I'm not doing terrible damage, so I still believe that there are quite a bit of miscalculations or something in the PoE that I'm not understanding how to like game the PoE system or what. I don't really know, but I know that it doesn't feel like I'm doing that little DPS than what it says on the thing. It feels like I do adequate DPS for what I need it to do, to be totally honest with you. I do get chunked, obviously, as you can see. I mean, defenses aren't the greatest on this build, but the idea is hopefully you can just kind of run away and you won't really need your defenses because you're basically completely immobilizing everything that you touch. More runes on top of runes on top of runes. It'd be really amazing if on video you gave me a really good thing right now. Anyway, but as you can see, the build does at least a T12 tower map pretty comfortably, I would say. There are risks of you dying depending on what monsters you're fighting. Like the quadrillas can really destroy you if you get hit by them, especially those guys that are throwing out the big shockwaves. There's also more defensive options you can go instead of, like, say, emergency reload if you want to. There's that healing spell that gets rid of, like, ailments and stuff. You can go that if you want to, if you'd rather that instead. That's more of, like, a hardcore tech. From what I've seen, that was in Zizzarin's video as well, and build, is he uses, and a Time of Need, I think is what it's called. It's a spirit gem, if I'm not mistaken. If you don't really care for emergency reload, which I know it's basically just one buffed shot of your siege cascade, and it requires a bit of timing, you can just go Time of Need and have like an additional small heal for yourself when you're kind of running low on flasks like I am right now. But see, even with a decent amount of mana for my character, I feel like it's pretty brutal on the mana department. That final link can either be Fire Infusion, depending on what you want it to be for just more straight damage, or it can be Fire Pin for just general mapping. If you use Fire Pin in your setup, it does do more damage, but you're kind of expecting not to be using flammability and oil grenade. Because those are really what you use for your bosses. You can use them for like a tough rare or stuff like that, but I tend not to use it, and I'm stuck on something. There we go. Now, as you can see, this isn't the fastest mapper on the planet. At least for me, it isn't. But it gets the job done. It feels pretty good to me, to be totally honest with you. And I'm not in like GG gear at all still. I've still got okay gear. Like I said, that ring is like a divine from what I looked up. The ring I picked up, this ring is about a divine, I would say, from every other ring on the softcore market that I found. because of the chaos resistance and the max mana and max life and the added global fire damage to attacks. Ring modifiers for local stuff like that, like adds fire or adds lightning damage to attacks, is a global mod. So it really is helpful to have on your rings. You don't just have to have light or fire. If you add lightning, it'll add shocks to everything, because again, it's local. So it's kind of advised to, you'll see that every now and again I'm shocking things. That's why I can say that we're shocking things in the video or in the build in the PoB, because my lightning damage that my character has from that ring, which is basically solely what it has, is allowing a 20% shock on most things, which is crazy because I literally don't have any investment into it. Anyway, that is the build. That was just a little run through of a map. I didn't die. It was just a tower map, so it's nothing crazy. But right now, that's what I'm doing. T12s. That's what I've made it up to so far. Like I said, kind of slow trudge. I don't plan on getting anywhere fast. So if you appreciate that, come back to me for more. I do plan on making a new video eventually whenever you can change ascendancies to see how the Gemling Legionnaire plays out. I don't know. It may be way better. It may boost the damage by a lot. It may not. I don't know. And I will post my findings when that is available. Other than that, I've been loving the changes so much. GGG is doing great. Great with feedback. Great interviews so far. Overall, I'm happy. So, we're all good. Anyway, thanks guys for lasting this long in the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. And please, I've got some discussions on my channel. I know those don't get quite as many views as these gameplay videos and these guide videos do. So I really would appreciate it if people would go to watch my other videos, but I understand why some people just don't want to click on them. Talking is boring, right? So, yeah. Anyway, sorry for hitting the mic there. I appreciate you guys. Peace out.